Welcome to Learn English Fast.
Speak English with confidence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Henry, and I'm really excited you're here with us today.
And I'm Sarah. Hi, everyone. It's always great to join you. Henry, today's topic is one of my favorites.
Yes, today we're talking about something that almost every English learner struggles with at some point. Listening skills. Many learners tell us, I can read English, I can write English, but when I listen to native speakers, I don't understand.
Oh, I hear that all the time, too. People say, they speak too fast, or I can catch some words, but not the meaning. So if you've ever felt that way, you're not alone.
Exactly. Listening is actually the foundation of language learning. Think about it. When babies learn their first language, the very first thing they do is listen. They listen for months before they ever speak.
That's so true. So if you want to speak English fluently, you really need to train your ears first.
And the good news is, we're here to help. In today's episode, we'll talk about why listening is so important, common problems learners face, and, of course, lots of practical tips and strategies you can use to improve.
Plus, we'll share some fun practice ideas you can start using today, even if you only have 10 minutes.
So, whether you're walking, cooking, or relaxing right now, stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear plan to make your English listening better, step by step.
All right, let's dive in.
So, Sarah, before we get into the how, let's talk about the why. Why do you think listening is such an important skill for English learners?
Well, listening is really the key that connects everything. If you can't understand what people are saying, it's hard to respond, right? You can't really have a natural conversation if you're only catching a few words.
Exactly. And it's not just about conversations. Think about real-life situations. Watching movies, listening to podcasts, understanding your teacher in class, or even following instructions at work. All of that depends on your listening skills.
Yes. And here's something many learners don't realize. Good listening also improves your speaking. When you listen carefully, you pick up on things like pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, and even the little words that connect sentences.
That's such an important point. For example, when native speakers say, "What are you doing?" it often sounds like, "What you doing?" If you never listen closely, you'll miss those natural patterns. But once your ears get used to it, you can also start speaking more naturally.
And there's another benefit. Listening helps grow your vocabulary. When you hear words in real conversations, not just in a textbook, you remember them better because you know how they're used.
Yes, it's so different from just memorizing a list of words. For instance, you might learn the word actually from a book. But when you hear someone say, "Actually, I don't agree," you understand its real tone and meaning.
So, in short, listening is like the doorway to fluency. The better you listen, the more confident you become in speaking, reading, and even writing.
That's right. And that's why in this episode, we want to give you practical ways to train your listening. Because it's not just a skill, it's the foundation of all English learning.
Well said, Henry. Okay, so now that we know why listening is so important, let's talk about some of the common problems learners face when they try to improve their listening.
All right, Sarah, let's be honest. Listening in English is not easy for most learners. What do you think are some of the most common problems they face?
Oh, there are several. The first one I hear all the time is, native speakers talk too fast. Learners say, I can read English slowly, but when people speak it feels like a train rushing past me.
Haha, yes, I've heard that too. And the thing is, native speakers don't usually slow down for learners. They speak naturally. And that natural speed makes it hard to catch every word.
Exactly. And it's not just the speed. Another big problem is accents. English is spoken in so many countries, the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and many others. Even within one country, people have different accents.
Right. For example, British English might sound very different from American English. If you only practice with one accent, you might feel lost when you hear another.
Yes, and sometimes learners say, I studied English for years, but when I met someone from Australia, I couldn't understand a word.
That's so true. Another challenge is connected speech. In textbooks, we see words clearly separated. I want to eat. But in real life, people say, I want to eat. Or, did you eat yet? Becomes, jeet yet?
Oh, yes, that really confuses learners. They think they know the vocabulary, but when words are squashed together, it feels like a completely new language.
And then there's slang and informal expressions. For example, someone might say, that movie was lit, or I'm gonna crash, instead of go to sleep. If you only study from textbooks, you'll have no idea what those mean.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the emotional side. Many learners feel nervous when listening. If they don't understand the first few sentences, they panic, and then they can't focus on the rest.
Yes, I've seen that. It becomes a cycle. You miss a word, you get stressed, and then you miss even more.
Exactly. So to summarize, the main problems are fast speed, different accents, connected speech, slang, and of course, nervousness.
Well put, Sarah. But here's the good news. All of these problems can be solved with the right strategies and practice.
Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about next, the different types of listening practice that can help you train your ears and build confidence.
So, Sarah, now that we've talked about the common problems, let's move into the solutions. One really important thing learners should know is that there are different types of listening practice.
That's right, and I like to divide it into two main categories, active listening and passive listening.
Yes. So let's start with active listening. This is when you give your full attention to what you're listening to. For example, you sit down with a short audio clip or a podcast and you really focus. Maybe you write notes, repeat what you hear, or try to catch new words.
Exactly. Active listening is like a workout for your ears. It takes energy, but it really helps you improve.
And then there's passive listening, which is more relaxed. You don't need to understand every word. You just let the English play in the background while you're cooking, walking, or even before you go to sleep.
Yes, passive listening is like giving your brain a bath in English. You may not notice it, but your ears are getting used to the sounds, rhythm, and flow of the language.
I like that. A bath in English, laughs. But both types are useful. You can't only do active listening because you'll get tired. And you can't only do passive listening because then you won't challenge yourself enough.
Exactly. A balance of both is the key. And there's another way we can think about listening, intensive listening versus extensive listening.
Right. Intensive listening is when you take something short, maybe just 30 seconds or a minute, and you listen many times. You try to catch every detail, the exact words, the pronunciation, the intonation.
Yes. For example, you could take a short movie clip, watch it 3 or 4 times, and really break it down. That's intensive practice.
And then extensive listening is more about the big picture. You listen to longer content, maybe a whole podcast episode, an audiobook chapter, or a TV show, and you don't worry if you miss a few words. You just focus on the general meaning.
Exactly. With extensive listening, the goal is to enjoy the content and understand the main ideas, not every single detail.
So to recap, we have active and passive listening, and we also have intensive and extensive listening. All of these are important, and when learners mix them together, they get the best results.
Yes, and later in this episode, we'll share some practical strategies to use these types of listening in your daily routine.
That's right. But first, let's dive into some specific strategies that learners can start using today to really improve their listening. All right, Sarah, this is the part I'm really excited about. Practical strategies. Because listeners don't just want to hear the theory. They want to know what they can actually do to improve.
Yes, exactly. And the good news is there are so many effective techniques learners can use. Why don't we go one by one and share some of our favorite strategies?
Perfect. Let's start with a simple one. Using subtitles wisely. Many learners watch movies or TV shows with subtitles, but they don't always use them in the best way.
Right. If you always use subtitles in your own language, you're not really training your listening. A better way is to use English subtitles. At first, watch with subtitles to connect the sounds and the words. Then, try again without subtitles and see how much you understand.
Exactly. It's like riding a bike with training wheels. Subtitles can help you, but the goal is to ride without them.
That's a great way to put it. Another powerful strategy is listening to short clips multiple times. For example, take a 1-minute podcast clip or a short YouTube video. The first time, just listen. The second time, focus on new words. The third time, try to repeat what you hear.
Yes, repetition is key. Native speakers don't listen to something once and magically understand. Even we re-watch or re-listen when something is important.
That's true, and this brings me to another method, the shadowing technique. Have you used shadowing before, Henry?
Oh yes, shadowing is one of my favorites. For those who don't know, shadowing means listening to someone speak and repeating immediately after them, almost like an echo. You copy not just the words, but also the tone, the rhythm, and the speed.
Exactly. And you don't have to get it perfect. The goal is to train your ear and your mouth to move together. It's amazing for listening and speaking.
Yes, it's like killing two birds with one stone. You improve both skills at the same time.
Another useful strategy is listening and reading together. For example, if you have an audiobook and the printed book, you can read while listening. This way, your eyes and ears work together, and it helps you connect sounds with words.
That's a fantastic method. I know learners who improved really fast by reading along with English subtitles or transcripts while listening. It's especially good for catching connected speech.
Definitely. And of course, we can't forget about the resources, podcasts, audiobooks, songs, and YouTube. Learners today have so much free content available.
Yes, and it's important to choose content you actually enjoy. If you hate the topic, your brain won't want to listen. But if you love sports, music, or cooking, find English content about those things.
Exactly. Motivation comes naturally when you enjoy what you're listening to. And one last tip here. Don't be afraid to listen again and again. Repetition makes the sounds familiar. And once something is familiar, it's easier to understand next time.
I agree 100%. So let's summarize some of the best strategies. Use English subtitles wisely. Listen to short clips multiple times. Practice shadowing. Combine listening and reading. Use resources like podcasts, audiobooks, and songs. Repeat often and choose content you enjoy.
That's a great list. If learners try even 2 or 3 of these strategies regularly, they'll see big improvements in their listening.
Absolutely. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to make listening practice a daily habit, even if you're super busy. So, Sarah, we've shared some powerful strategies. But here's the big question many learners have. How do I fit listening practice into my daily life?
Yes, that's such an important question, because the truth is you don't need hours every day. Even 10 to 15 minutes of listening practice daily can make a huge difference if you do it consistently.
Exactly. It's all about building a routine. For example, you could listen to a short podcast episode every morning while brushing your teeth or having breakfast. That's just a few minutes, but it's a great start to the day.
Yes. And you can also use what I call micro practice moments, like when you're walking, waiting for the bus, cooking, or exercising. You can just put on your headphones and listen.
That's a brilliant tip. Most learners think they need to sit down with a book and study hard, but really, listening can fit into everyday life. You don't need extra time, you just replace silence or background noise with English.
Exactly. And here's another tip: set a small daily goal. For example, I will listen to 5 minutes of English every day. It's a small goal, but when you reach it, you feel successful. And often, you'll end up listening more.
Yes, small goals are powerful. It's better to do 5 minutes every day than 1 hour once a week. Consistency beats intensity.
I completely agree. And if you want to make it fun, connect listening to things you already enjoy. If you like music, listen to English songs. If you like stories, try audiobooks. If you like news, listen to English news while drinking your morning coffee.
That's a great idea. The key is, listening shouldn't feel like a boring school task. It should be part of your lifestyle.
Exactly. And one more thing: track your progress. For example, write down the podcast episodes you listen to, or keep a list of new words you noticed. When you look back after a month, you'll see how much you've done.
That's so motivating. So to summarize, practice listening every day by using short, regular moments. Set small goals. Connect listening to things you enjoy. And track your progress.
Yes, if learners follow these steps, listening won't feel like extra homework. It'll just become a natural part of their daily routine.
And that's when the real improvement happens. Okay, Sarah, I think it's time to have a little fun and give our listeners a quick practice activity.
Yes, let's do it. I'll say a short sentence the way native speakers usually say it, fast and connected. And Henry, you can help break it down for our listeners.
Perfect. All right, listeners, are you ready? Try to listen carefully. Don't worry if you don't catch everything the first time.
Here we go. What you gonna do tonight?
Okay, did you hear that? I'll say it slowly now. What are you going to do tonight? But notice how Sarah said, what you're gonna do tonight.
Yes, the words get connected. What are you becomes what che, and going to becomes gonna. That's very natural in everyday English.
So if you only learned English from textbooks, you might feel lost. But when you practice listening to connected speech, suddenly it starts to make sense.
Exactly. Let's try one more. Ready? Did you eat yet?
That's a classic one. Slowly, it's, did you eat yet? But in fast speech, it becomes, did ya eat yet?
Right. So here's the activity for our listeners. The next time you watch a movie or listen to a podcast, try to notice these connected forms. Write down one or two examples and practice saying them out loud.
Yes, because when you can recognize these natural patterns, listening becomes much easier, and your speaking sounds more natural too.
Exactly. So, listeners, that was your quick listening workout with us today.
All right, Sarah, before we close, let's leave our listeners with some motivation and the key takeaways from today.
Yes. So, here are the main points. Listening is the foundation of English learning. It helps you improve your speaking, your vocabulary, and your confidence.
We also talked about common problems like fast speech, different accents, slang, and nervousness, and how all of these can be overcome with the right practice.
Exactly. And we shared practical strategies. Use subtitles wisely, repeat short clips, try shadowing, combine listening with reading, and most importantly, make listening part of your daily routine.
Yes, just a few minutes every day will build up over time. Remember, you don't need to understand every word. Focus on progress, not perfection.
That's so important. And to all our listeners, don't give up if it feels hard at first. Every minute you spend listening in English is helping your brain get stronger.
Absolutely. Step by step, you'll notice improvement. So keep going. You're already on the right path. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of the English Learning Podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We hope these tips help you feel more confident and excited about improving your listening skills.
Remember, even a little practice every day makes a big difference. So try one of the strategies we shared today. Start small and keep going.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll share more practical ways to learn English faster.
Thanks again for listening. Take care and keep learning.
Bye, everyone.